Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Resin Me Up. Hope everyone had a great sleep. So today we are going to introduce a new product from Resiners. And what that product is their brand new epoxy resin. It's a big box. I don't know if I can show it to you, but let me get it out of here for you. That way we can look at it. I am really familiar with their epoxy resin because I've used it a lot in the past. And this is their new formula. And I loved their old formula. Oh, goodness. And the one thing I adore about their bottles is that you get these pour spouts, and they are the bomb. So this is what their new bottles look like. Awesome, awesome. And show you what their little pour spouts look like. They're so good. I just love them. I wish other companies would follow suit on these, but these sit down inside there, and we'll put them on here in a minute. And then you don't get all the mess on the sides of your bottles and everything else. So we'll put those on in a second. Move these out of the way. So let's read about this new resin. So they give you some reminders here. It says, before use, thoroughly read your safety data sheets and product labels and follow all safety precautions. So basically, wear protective gloves, glasses, work in a well-ventilated area, do not come in contact with the skin, keep out of reach of children and pets, do not eat, drink, or smoke when mixing materials, avoid getting the material on your skin or eyes, wash your skin thoroughly with soap and water after handling, and wear eye protection such as chemical safety glasses or goggles. And if spilled, collect spillage, avoiding release to the environment, and dispose of mixed material in containers according to local, regional, and national regulations. And so they have some recommended tools that you can use, which is their silicone mat, nitrile gloves, mixing cups, and stir sticks. And so the mixing for this is a mixing ratio of 1:1. You have a 45-minute work time, and your drying time at 75 degrees Fahrenheit is 8 hours, and your curing time is 24 hours. Now, this is just if you're setting it on your counter and your temperature of your area, your room, your, whatever, wherever it is that you're doing your work is at 75 degrees. So that's going to make a big difference on that, because if your room is below 75 degrees, then that's going to affect your time on how it's going to cure. So, and also, if you're going to use their awesome little curing machine, then that is also going to affect your curing time. So basically, you're going to mix it 1:1, and you're going to mix it for 3 to 5 minutes until you don't see the little swirls in there. And you want to make sure you scrape the sides and the bottom and blending until no streaks or cloudiness are there. And then it says, after mixing, add non-water dyes or glow pigments. And for their resin, they recommend under 5% of total volume. So, like for other companies, they recommend up to 10%. Resiners recommends under 5%. So that's going to make a big difference on how your resin is going to cure. Before pouring the resin into your mold or object surface, let the mixed resin stand for about 5 minutes to release bubbles. Well, I run mine through a vacuum chamber, but as I'm getting things ready, I usually let it sit. So, it says, note, do not scrape the sides or bottom of the mixing container when pouring. This will prevent any unmixed resin from sinking to the sides of the container and damaging your finish. Then pour the resin mix slowly onto your mold or surface. The resin will self-level to 1/16 of an inch, but you can make each layer up to 1/4 of an inch thick. Pouring thicker than 1/4 of an inch may cause the resin to warp and shrink. In some cases, you may need to apply several layers of resin, covering porous surfaces, filling deep recesses in wood, achieving final thickness over 1/4 of an inch, embedding objects in resin, and pouring into molds deeper than 3 fluid ounces, and allow 4 to 10 hours of curing time between coats. And a tip, if your coating has cured for more than 24 hours, it must be lightly sanded and cleaned with acetone or topical alcohol before a new coating can be applied. So for bubbles, it says their resin is self-degassing. Air bubbles will appear as a natural part of the chemical process, and most of them will break and escape on their own. After pouring out for 5 to 10 minutes, you can remove the air bubbles on the surface with a toothpick or a heat gun. Another way to remove bubbles, a heat gun or a torch on a low setting can be used to remove any remaining bubbles. For a big project, hold the torch 6 to 8 inches from the surface and slowly sweep it across the top, being careful not to burn or discolor the resin. And you can repeat this process as many times as needed. On the curing process, the number of layers of resin, room temperature, humidity, and altitude will also affect the curing time, which we were just talking about that. And remember that the resin may warp if it's exposed to temperatures above 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Avoid placing very hot cups or plates directly on cured resin without coasters. Do not wash your project in the dishwasher or with very hot water. I think that's it. And then they show their other tools you can use, which is your dual mixer, the Airless Pro, and then the G3 tool. And that's basically it. And if you're familiar with resin, you're going to know what you can and can't do with resin. And this is crystal clear, self-leveling, self-deforming, and it resists yellowing. So I'm excited because, like I said, I've used their resin in the past and I have always liked Resiner's epoxy. So let's get this off of here and I'll show you how these lids fit. Let me get I've got a little tool here somewhere that they sent me that takes these off, and I'm sure I put it somewhere and I can't remember what I did with it. Maybe it's back here. You know, my catch-all tray. Oh, goodness. Well, I'll just use knife. Okay, we'll go ahead and cut this. Just like that. Throw this away. And then what I try to do is, before I stick these on, I try to wipe the edge with alcohol. That way you don't get any of that underneath it. Just like that. And then you want to make sure your jar is facing the way that you're going to pour. So don't put it on like this or like this. You want to make sure that your edge is correct with the way you're going to pour. And then you just slide that down on top of there, and voila. And your lids are corresponding, whoops, with your bottle colors. So this is the part A. So there's no need to write part A or part B on your bottles because it's already color coded for you. Which is nice because with other companies, their bottles are clear and I always have to write on them which is which so I don't confuse the lids. Okay. There's that one. Wipe this off. And then we're going to make sure the bottle is right. And then we're going to stick that in there just like that. And voila. And no, they don't leak if that's a question you're going to ask. I've never had one leak anyway. And then I try to keep my bottles as clean as possible. You guys know how I am. Okay, and there you have it. Your bottles are ready to go. And if you want to save these lids for when you're done, and you can pop those out of there and save them, you can. Because I don't know if they fit on other bottles. I've never tried them. Like other resin bottles. They might. I've never tried it. Okay, so let me tell you what else they sent me along with the resin. Move these aside. They sent me some molds that we're going to be doing in the near future. So this is one of them. Let me cut this open so we don't have to mess with this crinkly stuff. They sent them in bags, but I took them out of the bags because they were tightly smooshed into the bags, and I wanted them to relax the bags. So That way they were flat again. And I'll probably save this bag because I'll put them back in there. Okay, so this is one mold, and it is witches' hats, moons with bats, and bats. And these are earring molds, and they send you the pieces that you need, the earring holders and jump rings. And then this one is, they're really cute, all stuck together. And this one is spiderweb, spider, tombstone, and skeleton. Aren't those cute? Very cute. So that's that mold, all those pieces. And then the second one is, let's see, I'll just cut this top. Second one is a pumpkin jar. It's a little pumpkin. He's got arms, and over here he's holding a pumpkin. And then the top is a little witch hat. Aw, isn't that cute? So that's the bottom. He sits like that, and then he's got a little witch hat. How cute is that? That's cute. Looks pretty big too. So let's see how big he is. So depth-wise, 3 inches, and across is about 4 inches, and then with his hat together, it's about 5 inches. So that's a pretty good size mold. That's cute. That's cute. So that's the other mold. That's one mold. And then there's another one over here, which is going to be good for a coasting through the week video. And let me tell you, this is gigantic. It's a pumpkin coaster. And this is the one I had to really let sit because it was rolled up in the mold. Where does it open here? Somewhere, oh, right here. Come on. Ugh, sticking in my hands. And then this is the coaster holder for those. And it's pretty big. So this coaster, and see how that's up, I need to let it sit so that that can go back down. And this coaster is 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. So that's a fairly big thing. And then this is well over 6 inches by 5.5 inches. So it's a very big item. So, and those are the molds that they sent, and they do have these for sale on their website as well. So definitely take advantage of my discount code for resiners and go and get you something for the Halloween molds, because that one there especially, I like these two. They're really cute. And I don't have any Halloween earrings, but I think we're going to make some of these today just because, you know, I think they're fun. And we'll save these here for closer to October. Because you guys know what October is for me. So we'll set these aside, and we'll be working on these when it gets closer to October. Set these over here. And we'll need these for today. Okay, so what should we do with some of these cute little earrings? Aren't they cute? I like the little moons and the bats and the witches' hats and the spiders and the webs. They're so cute. So here's what I need to do. I need to mix up some resin, some of the brand new resin from Resiners, and we'll set these aside since we don't need those right now. And I'll come up with a plan for what we're going to do with these, and I'll come back and we'll make some. Okay? All right. I'll be right back. Okay, y'all. Goodness, I went through all my stuff, got out a bunch of things, and so this is what I've decided. We're not going to make all of these earrings. I think I'm going to make some of these keychains because they are quite large for earrings. But I mean, I know the trend right now is giant earrings, but I thought some of them would be cute for keychains too. So I think the ones we're going to focus on are the skulls, the spiders, the webs, the witch's hat, the moon, and the bats. We're going to leave these two out of it just because that's just what I choose to do. Okay. So we are going to have a little fun. We're going to make the bats on here black. And I found some thermochromatic powders that I had gotten in one of my Resin Molds Express boxes. So we're going to use a little bit of that. And I found some pumpkin thingies. I also found some bats. I found some eyeballs and a bunch of charms. And yeah, so, oh, and some Mylar flakes. I have all kinds of things. So we're just going to just jump right in here and we're going to see what we can do today. Okay. All right. So let's start off with, slide this over. We're going to use this purple one. And I don't know what color. Oh, I think it goes pink. Yeah, I think it goes pink. Whoa. Jeez. That's a lot. Let me scoop some of that back in here because that's way too much. That was like all of it. I don't need that much. If I need some more, I'll put some more in there. Good grief. Okay. So we're going to mix in some of this. Okay, so there's that. So now we still have some yellow left. Let me figure out what we're going to do over here for the black I'm wondering if my little bats will fit in those. Probably not. They're probably they're different. Yep, they are. Okay, let me get some black UV resin and we'll fill them up with black and then cure them real quick. That way we won't run into an issue with those. We'll let that fill up a little bit. Still got some. I guess we'll just put it over here in this hand. And I've got a little bit left in here as well. We'll just put that in here too. All right, that one's done. Those are kind of cool. I don't own any thermochromatic colors, so those are kind of interesting. So now I'm going to spritz these for any bubbles. Now let's do these bats up here. And we're just going to make them black. But let's see what I've got for, I have iridescent black. We could do some of that. The resin's getting hot. Probably just need to pour off some into these cups. Okay, that should be good enough, separated enough. And I may have to get my heat gun out to pop some of these. Which is fine. Okay. Now I have leftover of this. I will just pour it in this hand, I think. My resin is getting thick, thick, thick. And we'll just let that spread out. Okay. Now, on the skull and the spider web, I think I am going to use my, because why not, right? Okay, now I'm going to take this and just press that in there. Make sure that gets down in there. It's messy, I know, but it's effective. Spritz all those again. All right. Let's put some of these in here. See how thick that is? That's okay. I'll get a heat gun on it here in a little bit and that'll fix it. So let me get a heat gun on these, and then everything else is filled, at least that I want filled. And then I will come back to you on demold and we'll get these finished. Okay? All right, y'all. See you in a little while. Bye. Hey, y'all. Welcome back. Time to get these out of the molds and see what we can do to finish them up. There we go. Now I get to clean those up. All right, let me get my nippers here so we can clean up some of this around these edges on the ones we're going to mess with anyway. Actually, let me just do this off camera so you don't have to be bored. Hold on. Okay, y'all. Got everything out. Got everything cleaned up. I got my holes drilled where I want what we're going to do next. These are still a little soft, but we're going to go ahead and put them together. I got out some charms, and I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, so let me just lay them out here so we can, you guys look at this. Is this not hilarious? That's funny. Okay, so from these bottoms, we're going to attach some charms to them, and they're going to dangle from the bottom. So from the witch's hat, we have this. We have a witch's hat. We have a black cat. And we have another witch's hat. And from the spider web, we have spiders. We have a spider web, another spider. And then we have this spider. From the skeleton, we have a skeleton. Oh, we also have a black cat there too. We also have a skeleton. I've got a little ghosty that can hang from one of them. From the bat, I have bats, and I've got tons of other ones too. So I just grabbed what, I thought would be kind of cute dangling from these. So let me grab my pliers, and we're going to put some jump rings on these. And we're going to see how cute these are. So let's start with this witch's hat first. And so this one here, I think, is just adorable. It's got a little pumpkin hanging from it. So, and then we're going to put a key ring on the top. So let's see if this ring will go around it. See if it's big enough here. And like I said, these are still a little soft and may not be big enough. Let me see. I know I'm out of frame, but just a second. I don't know if this is big enough. And then this has just a little jump ring on it, so we're just going to put that right on there. Just like that. Isn't that cute? Huh? And then I thought what we would do is, let me find them here. They're somewhere. Glow in the dark stars. We'll put some glow in the dark stars on top of this. I'm going to have to UV them, but I got to wait until these are cured. And this is thermochromatic, so then at least you can see what I'm doing with it. Ugh. These things are hard to pick up and move around. Well, I guess it's going to stay there. So that would be a cute one for that. And then we'll put a ring through this hole for the key ring. There. And then this one here I thought would be cute to put the witch, because you know the witch flies over the moon. Thought that was kind of cute. And for the bat, I've got this bat, and I don't know if I have any other bats. We also have a pumpkin. Oof, that one got bent. I mean, there's all kinds of charms in here for Halloween. But I don't know if I have any other bats. Let me look. Yeah, I have this bat. Excuse me. I think those are the only two bats that I have, or those kind. Yep, just those two. There's a little haunted house. Another cat with a moon. Hold on, y'all. I got to blow my nose. Okay. So I'm not sitting here sniffling in your ear. For the skull, we have this. And I think that's the only really skull I have other than the skeletons. That skeleton and that skull. So, okay. So let's get the witch on here. And I'll probably fast forward this while the video is playing because this is so time consuming. I will BRB when I get all this finished and I'll show you how it looks in the end, okay? All right, BRB. Okay, y'all. Phew, got them all done. So now the last thing I have to do here is to put one of these little balls on here. And I think I'm just going to go with the black ones if I have enough. So I've got one. I guess I could go with purple. Purple, purple, black, black. And I guess we could go with white on those two. How's that? Okay. So I just need a little jump ring. Sorry. On these. And then we'll be done. Yippee-ki-yay. And then I'll show you what they look like. Now these have gold ends. It's not the way I planned them to be, but so these turned out pretty cute. I'll show them to you as I do them. How's that sound? All right. So here's the skeleton. I did put the eyes in it. Isn't that cute? So there's that one. I didn't want to add any other charms on here because he's got his charm hanging from the bottom. And here is the spider web. I ended up putting the spider web on, and then I used some rhinestones around there just to give it a little character. There's that one. And then the little witch hat. It was funny because when I was putting UV resin on top of these, they were changing color from the heat. Oh, where's my charm? I had the cat. Now I got to get this, put it back on there. Little cat. Let's see, this is the front. All right, so there's that. And then I need this. Oh, did I already put it on there? And there's the little witch's hat. Put a little line of rhinestones there, star and moon, and then the little cat. And that one's cute too. Okay, spider. I can't hang on to these pliers today. All right, so the spider has his little spider charm, and then I took rhinestones and put them all over his legs, so that would accent his little legs. And then the holographics really pick up in the center. Okay, Mr. Bat. Let's see if I have some more of these open ones in here. And on the bat, I just highlighted his top of his wings. Me and bats are not very good friends. We found out we had a space up around our chimney of our fireplace, and our town right now has a problem with bats, and we've had 2 get in our house. Let me tell you, my husband has found out how good my lungs work. Scary. And there's Mr. Bat. And then for the other witch's hat, I just put glow-in-the-dark stars. And you guys know how those glow. And we'll put another purple one on his. I can get a hold of it. Ooh, that one's got a ring on it already. Not sure why. To take that off. It's a big one too. And so there's that one. That's cute. And last but not least, we have the moon and the bats with the witch that I think is on backwards. It is. Good grief. I had to take it off too because I put UV resin on top of it as well. It needs to go on like this. And then I also put glow-in-the-dark stars on it. So we'll put a little black on that one as well. And then we will be done. Stay there. And voila. What do you guys think? So I took earring molds And I turned them into keychains. Aren't they cute? I like them. Mr. Skull and Bones over here looking out at you. So, and then of course I poured extras because I had extra resin. I didn't do anything with them. I mean, they're pretty big for earrings. I mean, literally big. So, but yeah. So what do you guys think? You like my keychains? My moon and witches hats and spiderweb, bat, spider, and skull. What do you guys think? I think they turned out cute. I like them. All right, guys. Well, that's a long enough video for me today. So, yeah, you'll have to let me know what you think in the comments and leave me a comment and hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you should, because this is only the beginning of what's coming for the fall season. Can't tell you any more than that, but yeah. So yeah, you better subscribe because you just might miss something for the up and coming weeks. So there you have it, guys. All right. Remember, stay curious, stay creative, and always stay positive. And remember, be kind to everyone. And we will see you tomorrow for Coasting Through the Week. I got a little bit of a surprise for you. Something that wasn't planned, but I think you're going to enjoy it. So, yeah. So, have a great evening and take care. Bye, y'all.